Distinguished colleagues, as some announcements, this was the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished senators, and pursuant to the National Assembly Service Act 2014, which provides for the appointment of chairman and 12 other members, are hereby in consultation in line with the request of the President of the Senate in consultation with the Speaker of the House, approved. Oh, sorry. Distinguished colleagues, correspondence from Mr. President. So in line with the National Assembly Service Act 2014, the President of the Senate has requested, in consultation with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, I hereby approve the appointment of the nominees as follows. Chairman, National Assembly Service Commission, Dr. Savio Enyekeren. Members from different zones. Northwest Zone, Suleiman Otman Ongwe, distinguished senator. Honorable Yusuf A. Yusuf Tabuka. For the Northeast, Aminu Ibrahim Male, Alhaji Lawad Maina Mahmoud, from the North Central, Mark Hanmation Tesu, Salisu Omar Abuala Balogun, from the Southwest, Honorable Taiwo Olukemi Oluga, and Honorable Afis Igbeza Balogun. From the Southeast, Honorable Dr. Nana Uzokalu. Then the second person is Chief Festus Ifinachi Odi, South, Right Honorable Patrick A. Giwa, and Mrs. Mary Ekwen. Please accept, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regard. This is approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and this is referred to the committee on where is my series? Refers to the Committee on Establishment, chaired by Cyril Fasfi, to revert to the Senate as soon as the screening and clearance are completed for consideration and due approval of the hallowed chambers. Congratulations to the nominees. Distinguished colleagues, today in the gallery, we have the staff and students of the Hillside School, Warimpa, Abuja, who are here to observe the Senate proceedings. I wish you fruitful observations, God's blessings, and journey mercies back to your destination. You may be seated. We also have the staff and students of Jewel Model Schools in Kubwa, Abuja, who are on the right at the gallery to observe Senate proceedings. I wish you fruitful observations and journey mercies back to your school. You may be seated. I wish you fruitful observations. The staff and students back to your school of Senate Hills Academy. We have also observations who are in the gallery to observe Senate proceedings. I wish you fruitful observations and journey mercies back to your school. You may be seated.
Iwoboyi is also Ezinwa Francis, former chairman Labour House of Reps. Take your seat. Senator Patrick, Civil Senator Izinaso, the Civil Senator Iwoboyi, please resume your seats. Distinguished Senator Plan, Minority Leader. Minority Leader, Senator Abba Moro, Senator Plan, resume your seats.
Any petitions? Yes. The Chief Whip, point of order.
Distinguished President of the Senate, order please. Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is
Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I am coming under the combined force of Order 6, Rule 2, and Order 24, Rule 2A. Subject to the permission of the President of the Senate, I will read the orders.
Please read.
Order 24 2A. Order 24 stipulates the duty of the chief whip, and it reads thus: there shall be a chief whip of the Senate. The chief whip shall be a senator nominated from the party with the highest number of seats in the Senate. And 2A said, the chief whip shall maintain order and decorum in the Senate. The duty of the chief whip is to maintain order and decorum. So pursuant to the jurisdiction conferred on the office of the chief whip, for which the chief whip once is desirous of invoking the powers of that office, I will proceed to read Order 6, Rule 2, on page 9 of our rules books. Order 6, Rule 2. Order 6 states, the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. 6.2, a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time.
Please read that again.
Okay.
Is that the President of the Senate shall?
The President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. Yes. And it went further to state that a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided that the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time. So it is at the discretion of the President of the Senate, as circumstances warrant, to change seats as time goes on, based on circumstances that may pop up in the course of the proceedings of the Senate. And in the course of the proceedings of the Senate, 2 senators from the PDP, that is Senator Ned Nwonko.
Which faction of PDP? Which faction?
And
Senator Dixon's faction. Ababoro.
And also Senator Francis Ezenwa of the Labour Party also decamped to APC, thereby necessitating their movement from the other side to this side, thereby creating vast spaces in the opposition side. And then pursuant to that, and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President, pursuant to Order 6, Rule 2 and 2A, the President of the Senate decided to rearrange this seat, giving directives to the chief whip to exercise that function. And pursuant to that directive, seats were reallocated. And I'm not surprised to report that Senator Natasha, having given another seat, refused to vacate her former seat in flagrant violation of our rules. So I am craving for, ordinarily I don't want to bring it to the attention of the Senate, but now that Senator Natasha insisted on staying on her former seat in spite of the rearrangement of the seats, I am craving for indulgence to resume the seat that has been lawfully allocated to her pursuant to the provisions of our rules, and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President to resume her new seat. If not, the Senate President may decide to exercise the powers conferred on him not to allow her to contribute to any debate from that seat, thereby depriving her constituency of a voice. Thank you.
Well, distinguished
Order, please.
distinguished Chief Whip of the Senate, your point of order is sustained.
Order, please.
Distinguished Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
allowed suspension immediately.
Or refer. Take it. I do not fear being silenced.
Any petitions? Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. Yes, point of order.
Mr. President, I come under Order 41 and 51, Mr. President, on a matter of urgent national importance. And if Mr. President permits, by his indulgence, I will read Order 41 and 51, Mr. President.
Proceed.
Mr. President, Order 41 reads, a matter of urgent public importance. 41.1. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 51. Dispensing with notice. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, this matter for urgent national importance is predicated on the looming constitutional crisis in Benue State, resulting from the purported removal of the Chief Judge of Benue State and calling for an urgent need for Senate intervention, and is sponsored by my humble self, Senator Emmanuel Udende, and Senator Titus Zam. Mr. President, the motion is on the fact that the State House of Assembly passed a resolution removing the state's chief judge in contravention of relevant sections of the Constitution and without the participation of the National Judicial Council. And Mr. President, a few members, like 14 of them out of the 32 members of the Benue State House of Assembly, abstained from participation on that illegality, and subsequently they were suspended. And so, Mr. President, we feel that unless there is an urgent intervention, there is the possibility of a constitutional crisis, because this issue borders on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. And so, if Mr. President indulges me, with the consent of my colleagues, I will move the motion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, when the chambers was renovated, one of the things I said was that I hope the renovation will not turn us into South African Parliament, where you hear Malema, 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 sit down, Malema, sit down, Malema, sit down. And that is because we know how the electronic system ought to work. I recall that in the 8th Senate, I had almost a similar issue where seats were reallocated as a result of movement. And I also moved at that time. So when I came into the chambers, they gave me a different seat. The next day they gave me a different seat. The third day they gave me a different seat. So I also voiced out my anger. And I said, what is going on here? And then the Senate President was able to control. So everything I said did not get out to the public. And so social media had nothing to feast on. So unfortunately, we need to go back to our old microphone system so that people will not speak out of order and then speak when they are not recognized. So I apologize on behalf of the contractor who did this. Now, the distinguished Senator Abamoro actually mentioned this issue of a looming crisis in Benue State and the illegal or legal removal of the chief judge. We are not in a position to rule because we are not the judiciary. And when he said that is something that is capable of bringing crisis to the government and the people of Benue State. So I think is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to proceed with the motion under Order 41 and 51? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator, I didn't hear your voice. So you may proceed, the minority leader.
Thank you.
Observation. Which order?
Mr. President, if I'm to cite an order, I will cite a constitutional order, which is Section 1 of our Constitution, especially 1(3). The Constitution clearly defines the roles of the three arms of government. And one arm cannot take over the job of the other. So the basis of my observation is actually to ask the distinguished minority leader to please also inform us before going into this, if this matter is already in court, because this is a very sensitive matter, and we have to be sure that the removed Chief Judge of Benue has not already proceeded to court. If this matter is sub judice, then we are not in a position to entertain this.
Yes, I think that observation, your point of order is sustained. Actually, Senator Abamoro, is this matter already in court?
No.
No,
It's not in court. As a matter of fact, this thing took place yesterday, and so it's not in court.
To your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge. It's not in court.
So, is it the view of the Senate that it be allowed to proceed? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it, so you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. And on my honor, I want to repeat that this matter is not in court. And so, like I said, this motion is sponsored by 3 or 4 senators from Benue State across the aisle. And so, I proceed. The Senate knows that the National Assembly, amongst other things, has a responsibility as the highest lawmaking body in Nigeria to protect and preserve the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to ensure compliance, prevent violations, and ensuring the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land. The Senate knows further that there is a looming constitutional crisis currently in Benue State, and if not nipped in the bud, may spring to become a great threat to democracy and rule of law in the entire country. The said crisis stems from the purported removal of Justice Ikpambesi Morris, the Chief Judge of Benue State, by the State House of Assembly without having recourse to the tenets of the law. The Senate knows further that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, states explicitly in Section 153 and 271 that the National Judicial Council is the only body that authorizes the appointment and removal of state chief judges, and the Constitution in the said sections goes further to state the procedures for appointment and removal of state judges, and anything outside the provisions of the Constitution is a direct affront to the Constitution and a danger to democracy. Note lastly that Section 292(1)(a) of the aforementioned Constitution expressly provides for the step-by-step procedure for the removal of the state chief judges. However, the Benue State House of Assembly, with either ignorance of what the law says or with intention to make a caricature of our ground norm, the Constitution, went ahead to sit and pass a resolution just by themselves purporting to have removed the Chief Judge of Benue State, a resolution that brings a great insult to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, and if not reversed, may lead to abuse of the powerful document that provides for the entire country. The Senate accordingly resolves, 1, to urge the National Judicial Council to immediately step in and nip the looming crisis in the bud and take steps to rescind the illegal and unconstitutional resolution purportedly removing Justice Morris Ikpambesi, the Chief Judge of Benue State. 2, invite the Speaker and the Majority Leader of the Benue State House of Assembly to explain the circumstances of their illegal actions. And 3, urge the National Assembly to carry out its constitutional duty under Section 11(4) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, to take over the affairs of the Benue State House of Assembly in view of the demonstrable act of incompetence by the session of the House of Assembly to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if they fail to appear or fail to rescind the purported removal of Justice Morris Bambese or avoidable suspension of some members of the Benue State House of Assembly who refuse to participate in the illegality of removing the state chief judge. We so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Zam.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Dr. Titus Tengezam. I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District, and I rise to support the motion moved by distinguished Senator Abba Muro. I so second, distinguished colleagues. Thank you.
You don't have anything to urge in favor of the motion. You have seconded the motion. You are from Benue State. So if you have more clarification, yes, that will guide the Senate. You can go ahead.
Yes. Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, as it has been elucidatively explained in this motion, yesterday, the members of the State House of Assembly went to work, and suddenly, the majority leader read a letter purporting to have come from the Office of Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Benue State, averring that the Chief Judge of Benue State had committed some infractions that, in their judgment, required that he be removed. While the letter was read, members of the State House of Assembly were divided. Benue State has 32 members. In the sitting of yesterday, only 31 attended. So the House was divided. 14 members of the State House of Assembly objected and voted against the removal of Justice Morris Bambese, the Chief Judge of Benue State. While the House was divided, the presiding officer, the Speaker, asked his clerk to stand up and count those that were in favor of the remover and those against, as it is the practice in all assemblies. Because apparently they were acting a script, the clerk of the State House of Assembly started counting. He counted and arrived at a figure that was different from the people that were in the assembly. He said 23 of the House of Assembly members voted in favor of the removal of the Chief Justice. Meanwhile, in the sitting, there were only 31 members. So 14 members of the House of Assembly objected to this. So if you subtract 14 members from 31, you will arrive at 18 members. 17. So where the clerk got 23 members supporting that removal remains a mirage. It does appear clearly that it was a predetermined thing that did not follow any due process. So these 14 House of Assembly members objected to this, and they protested right on the floor of the assembly. They were overruled. They left the chambers, went out, and did a press conference, distancing themselves from this illegality. And later in the day, the assembly convened and suspended them for 3 months. So, as already explained in this motion, the Excellency distinguished colleagues, there is a looming constitutional crisis in Benue State, and I urge my colleagues to quickly intervene as canvassed in the prayers of this motion. Thank you.
Don't they invite the civil senator Ulende, who is also from Plenary?
Thank you, Mr. President. My esteemed colleagues, my name is Manuel Munga Udende. I represent Benue Northeast. I stand to support this motion totally because the action of the Benue State Assembly is authorized their powers as provided by the Constitution.
taking for granted that the suspension or removal of the chief judge has emanated from NJC as provided by the Constitution. What is required is to take majority of the Benue State Assembly. 17 members cannot be dictated of the majority. 32 members or 31 members that were present to take majority is 22 members. So what they did was completely ultra-virus. And to suspend the other members without hearing them is a breach of the Constitution. So as of yesterday, thugs took over Benue State Assembly and the premises of the State High Court. And so the 14 members were not even allowed into the premises. So if this assembly slips by and watch without taking action, so there will be a breach of democracy in Benue State. This morning we woke up, the assembly, the premises of the High Court have been blocked by threats of sharp sound. So this assembly, I urge my colleagues to support this motion and to ensure that there is decorum back in Benue State. I so support.
Distinguished colleagues, I don't think we should go too much into discussions. The reason I'm saying so is that this issue just happened yesterday. And between yesterday and this morning, I can imagine a flurry of activities must have happened. So we may not be privy to those things. Yes, please, Distinguished Senator Dixon.
Thank you very much.
Bear in mind that the National Judicial Council has issued a statement on it.
Exactly. Yes. So, Henry Seraki Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, let me first of all join our colleagues. And I don't think there's anyone in this chamber who is not concerned if there is a flagrant violation of the Constitution, or there's an attempt to disrupt the course of justice as stated, provided by the Constitution, in the way and manner that we are hearing, both from the motion and from the news making rounds. In spite of that concern, I just wanted to draw attention to what you have already said as the Senate President, which is that yesterday, from all the news channels, clearly today, the National Judicial Council yesterday sat and took a decision and made it public, making it clear that it is their constitutional responsibility to sanction a serving member of the bench, and in any case, to begin the process of removing the chief judge of Benue State or of any other state. They have already done so. They have already done so. I read a statement also from the Nigerian Bar Association condemning what is going on, the purported removal of the chief judge of Benue State. So I feel that at this point in time, and this is a developing scenario, it's a developing situation. So I feel that the motion that has been brought by our very distinguished and respected colleagues shows concern, which we all associate with. But the prayers, for me, we should express concern about what is going on. In Benue, nobody, no governor, no House of Assembly, no other political player or institution should be allowed to disrupt the constitutional order provided as to how a judge of the chief judge of the state can be removed. The powers are vested clearly by the Constitution on NJC. So my take is that
we can understand as political players of Benue, we know what is going on, we are following what is happening there, political players. We may not be helping the situation if we take actions that will exacerbate it. We should, in my view, condemn the purported violation of the Constitution and make it clear that by our Constitution, only the NJC has the jurisdiction to do so, not the Benue House of Assembly, number one. And then we get a referral to our committee on judiciary, human rights, for appropriate follow-up action. But for us to now, as the motion is suggesting, they know more, the movers know more of the situation. But for us to now summon the presiding officers of the House of Assembly and then take over or purport to take over the legislative powers and functions of the Benue State House of Assembly, my dear colleagues, we may not be helping the situation. We may not be helping the situation. So I feel we should express concern, condemn any infraction of the Constitution in the way and manner that has been stated, then support the NJC's position, and then pass a referral to our committee, ably led by our senior advocate, who will know what to do on this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, I don't think we should debate this issue. I think from what the distinguished Senator Dixon has said, and from even the information available to us here, that the body that is constitutionally mandated to discipline judges has already condemned the action and issued a statement. What should concern us should now be the further action of the House of Assembly of Benue State, which tended to punish members who did not agree with the decision. This is a democracy. It's not everybody that must agree with the decision of the majority. The majority can have its way, the minority should have to say, which is the suspension. So I think we should go into the prayers so that we can also urge the Speaker and the many members who may be in the majority to recall their colleagues that they said have been suspended as a result of this being broken. I think that would be a better way of handling it, like we now try to our committee. So let's take the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the National Judicial Council to immediately take steps to nip in the bud the looming crisis in Benue State, and further take steps to rescind the illegal and unconstitutional resolution purportedly passed, removing the Chief Justice Maurice Egbambweze as Chief Judge of Benue State, following a letter from the Attorney General of the state. Amendment. Yes, distinguished Senator Ndubweze. You have my microphone, you are recognized, so you are not abusing it.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Patrick Ndubweze, representing the North. My amendment based on the fact that the judicial NJC have made statement on this. So I'm of the opinion, urge the National Judicial Council to immediately take steps to resolve this judicial crisis in Benue State according to the provisions of the law establishing Judicial Council. We are not to tell them whether to rescind or to sack, but to tell them to do their job. That's my own amendment. Thank you.
Any seconder to that? Senator Plank.
President of the Senate, my colleagues, I'm Senator D.K. Plank, representing Plateau Central. I rise to support the amendment made by Senator Bwezi that it should be reconstructed to give an opportunity for the Judicial Service Commission to act according to the law. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, prayer 1 is amended to say that we should urge the National Judicial Council to take further steps to resolve the purported removal of the Chief Judge of Benue State in tandem with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution as soon as practicable. Those in support of prayer 1 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, invite the Speaker and the Majority Leader of the Benue State House of Assembly well, from here it says to explain the circumstances of their illegal action. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Prayer 3, urge the National Assembly to carry out its constitutional duty under Section 11, subsection 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, taking over the affairs of the Benue State House of Assembly in view of the demonstrable act of incompetence by a section of the House of Assembly to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. If they fail to appear or fail to rescind the purported removal of Justice Maurice Ekpamweze or avoidable suspension of some members of the Benue State House of Assembly who refuse to participate in the illegality of removing the State Chief Judge. This is what I have here. Those in support of this prayer as couched say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Any additional prayer? Yes, this Senator Izunaso.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. My additional prayer is that the Senate do mandate the Committee on Judiciary to follow up this matter and report back to Senate within 2 weeks.
We should refer this matter to our Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters to investigate same and report back to the Senate within 2 weeks. Those in support of this additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank distinguished Senator Abamoro for the non-partisan approach to this issue. Because Benue State is an APC state, and you are the minority leader from PDP. So you can see that you have support from your APC counterparts from Benue State, which means I think that bipartisan approach is something that the Senate must commend. And at the same time, I also thank you for your concern about the possibility of the crisis degenerating into violence. And I believe strongly that with the resolutions of the Senate backing the NJC, condemning what has just taken place in Benue State, and further referring the matter to its Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters to do further investigation and revert to the Senate for further legislative action, that I think we are in the right track. So I thank you, and I do pray that even before the chairman and members of this committee go into work, that the issue would have been resolved in the national interest. Yes. Any other point of order? Any other point of order? Yes. OGD. Distinguished Senator Benga Daniel.
Thank you very much, our President, Amotumba Engineer Benga Daniel, representing Ogun East Senatorial District. I keep reminding our colleagues that Ogun East is the old Ijebu province created over 100 years ago that has still not been turned into a state. I come under Order 41 and Order 51. Your Excellency, may I be allowed to...
Please take the first statement. You said that Akwa Ibom is the only state that that has not been divided. Is that what you said?
Your Excellency, our President, Ogun East Senatorial District is the old Ijebu province, one of the 27 provinces created by our colonial masters over 100 years ago. And it still happens to be the only one that has not been turned into a state. It's just a matter of information, Mr. President.
If you make that statement, is that what you want to say here? Let me mention that Anam province. So it is not only Ogun West, it's also Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District. It was initially called Anam province. It has also not been turned into a state. So that makes two of us. You can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Order 41 is a matter of urgent public importance. And 41.1 reads that the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. But also Order 51 on dispensing with notice says that notice shall not be dispensed within the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the adjacent of the senators present. Mr. President, I seek your consent to make this motion on the demise of our late elder statesman, Chief Samuel Ayodele Adebanjo, who passed on a few days ago. Mr. President, sir, may I?
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senator Otumba Benga Daniels had actually approached me on this all-important motion, but our rule says that not more than one of such motions may be taken at a sitting, and the distinguished Senator Abamoro had already taken one. But because of the operative word, may, and because I'm allowed to interpret the rule, and I've seen that what he's bringing before us is urgent enough and is time-bound, I want to plead with the Senate that I be indulged to allow to proceed. Is it the view of the Senate that the Senate President should, in line with the provisions of our standing rule, allow more than one motion of urgent national importance in view of the importance of this motion? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Because of its importance, we will amend our rule and allow you to proceed. So you may proceed.
Thank you very much, our President, for this indulgence. Distinguished colleagues, this motion is on the demise of Chief Samuel Ayodele Adebanjo, 1929 to 2025, OFR, who is a pillar of democracy, a guardian of equity, and a bridge to Nigerians' conscience. Let me say, sir, that this bill is also co-sponsored by our Senate leader and 21 other senators listed accordingly. The Senate is asked to note with a deep sense of loss, yet an immense gratitude to the death of a titan of democracy, a fearless statesman, a political activist, and a lifelong advocate for justice and good governance, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, at the age of 96 years. The Senate is further asked to note that this icon, leader, and a conscience of the Nigerian nation was born in Isoya-Ogbo, a village near Ijebu-Ode, within Ogun East Central District of Ogun State, on the 10th of April 1928. He was a journalist before studying law at the United Kingdom, and he was called to the English bar in 1961. The Senate is asked to be aware that the elder statesman began his political journey in 1943 as a follower of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe before joining the Action Group in 1951, where he became a mentee and political disciple of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. The Senate is asked to be mindful that the deceased non-Nigerian fled to Ghana in 1962 following Awolowo's questionable felony trial, and he was charged along with 30 others. He was also arrested and detained multiple times for his political stance and activism. The Senate is further asked to be mindful that Pa Adebanjo equally played a major role in the National Democratic Coalition NEDECO protest following the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election, and was a leading voice in the call for Nigeria's restructuring and regional autonomy. The late lawyer was a member of both the 1978 Constituent Assembly and the 2014 National Political Conference. The Senate is asked to please recall that the late Afenifere leader over the decades has remained steadfast in the struggle for democracy, standing at the forefront of progressive politics, unwavering in his convictions and unapologetic in his pursuit of justice and equity. He was a man who spoke truth to power, not out of defiance, but out of duty to the ideals of fairness, good governance, and the well-being of the people. The Senate is asked to further recall that Pa Adebanjo was survived by his 94-year-old wife, Chief Christy Ayo Adebanjo. Children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Was not just a man, but an institution. His life was a long, unbroken testament to resilience, integrity, and an unwavering belief in the power of justice. The Senate is asked to be convinced that this departure is not just a loss to the Yoruba nation, but to Nigeria as a whole. The Senate is accordingly resolved, if I'm permitted to go on, to observe a minute of silence in his honor, to send a high-powered delegation to consult with his family and the people of Ijebuland and the Ogun State government, and to urge the federal government to also mobilize him by naming a national monument after him. Mr. President, if you kindly allow me, in addition to this motion, I would like to just say, with your kind permission, a few words about what I know of Chief Ayo Adebanjo. Mr. President, sir, I'm asking for your permission, for your kind permission, to say a few words in addition to the motion that I've just presented.
I thought you were moving the motion.
Motion has been moved, sir.
Then somebody has to second the motion. The Senate Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari.
Buhari Abdul Fattah, Oyo North. Mr. President, in seconding the motion moved by Otunba Benga Daniel on the demise of Pa Adebanjo. Mr. President, shortly before the demise of the man, a video was circulating where he was chatting with the daughter, and the daughter asked him a question: "What do you think you'll be remembered for?" The man said, "Very soon if I'm gone, they will say Ayo Adebanjo, the controversial man, has gone." The daughter asked another question: "And what again?" He said, "You people should go and hide every other thing. Now we are going to hide." He was a very strict man. He was very principled. always fighting for justice and fairness. Mr. President, while he was in Ghana, when he fled to Ghana on exile, and there was a coup against Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, despite that he was in another country, he was fighting the junta against staging a coup in that country. They have no choice than to deport him to Nigeria. He was deported to Nigeria, and they sent him to Kirikiri, where he met the likes of Ole Soyinka and some few other radicals, and they formed a coalition. When they came out, they were fighting and struggling for democracy in the country. That was how the military in Nigeria were able to hand over for democracy in the early 80s. In the mid-90s, immediately after the annul of June 12th, himself, few others, including our present president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, fought for democracy when they were in exile under the NADECO. And they were able to get us the democracy all of us are enjoying now. Pa Adebanjo has come and gone. He played his role and he has paid his duty. May God forgive his shortcoming. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Adeni Adegwami of Edo Central. Mr. President, my contribution to this laudable motion is the fact that I knew Pa Adebanjo at extremely close quarters, for the reason that he and my late father were both of the Action Group, later on the Unity Party of Nigeria, SDP, Alliance for Democracy. So I've known Ayo Adebanjo all of my life. In fact, he used to come to my house in Lagos to have meetings with my late dad. I submit with greatest respect that he is a man to be celebrated, particularly by us. We are all beneficiaries of his struggles and of his conviction. We will all recollect that when we had the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, Pa Adebanjo and a lot of people, including our now president, were the ones that fought the military to a standstill. And we are now enjoying the fruits of their labor in ensuring that democracy strives in Nigeria. You may not agree with Pa Adebanjo in everything he says, but he was a man of conviction and believed in all that he believed in, and rightly so. So I join my voice in celebrating a great Nigerian, a great Democrat, a man worthy of the honor that is to be bestowed upon him in a few minutes. I therefore respectfully add my voice that the Senate do consider the prayers of this motion. Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Yunus, distinguished senator.
Mr. Senate President, I remain Yunus Akitunde, representing Oyo Central. In supporting the motion moved by Otumba Gbenga Daniel, I want to lend my voice to comment on the demise of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, a very strong member of Afenifere when he was alive. I know him to be a national leader of men who attracted and commanded affection and loyalty. Sir, no word can express the loss of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, especially at this time. A nationalist who represents diversity and inspires selfless love and sacrifice. I wish to support the motion as moved by Otumba Gbenga Daniel again and support the prayers as moved.
Yes, distinguished Chief Whip of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I am speaking on the person of the late Pa Ayo Adebanjo against the backdrop of, as a young parliamentarian in 1992, and the struggles that were put in for the actualization of the June 12 mandate, the Pan-Nigerian mandate that was given to the late Chief M.K.O. Abiola and Ambassador Babagana Kingibe. I can recall with nostalgia that I am among the few parliamentarians of that era that actually drew a lot of strength and support from the activities of Ayo Adebanjo of blessed memory towards the struggle not only for the actualization of June 12, but for the enthronement of a true and durable democracy that is going to not only stand the test of time, but is going to work for the welfare and the benefit of the people. I can also recall that even after our dissolution by the military junta of the late General Sani Abacha, the struggle and the momentum for the actualization of June 12 was actually sustained through the platform of NADECO, of which Professor Ayo Adebanjo of blessed memory also played a very, very prominent role to even affect their comfort and their lives. Against this backdrop, it is good that this Nigerian Senate is celebrating the life and times of a true Democrat that has made a lot of sacrifice to the enthronement of true and durable democracy that we are currently enjoying. There are two phases of life, a time to be, three phases, a time to be born and a time to die. In between is a time to serve. For Ayo Adebanjo has come to this world and he has served humanity for the better, and he's now resting in the bosom of the Lord. May God give him perfect peace. Amen. Thank you.
Senator Siraki Dixon.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and my dear colleagues, Henry Siraki Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to use this opportunity on behalf of my constituents and my family to condole with the family of our departed leader, Ayo Adebanjo. May God bless his soul. I condole also the government and the good people of Ogun State. I condole the people of Ijebu land, my maternal home, and I condole the entirety of the Nigerian nation. At Pa Adebanjo's passing, there's no doubt that one of our iconic leaders, titans of our democracy, an unbending, unapologetic Democrats of the finest caliber, has departed our land. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, maybe with the passage of time, we may know why within a space of 1 week, two iconic leaders and fathers, iconic champions, patriots of the highest order, Pa Adebanjo first departing, and then Pa Clark, another father of mine, another father of ours, another great nationalist following suit few days after, as if to again show their close working relationship while alive. We don't know what they've gone and what they are planning on the other side. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, we can spend the entirety of today talking about Pa Adebanjo, who lived a rich, useful, eventful, impactful, and long life. But he used the entirety of his life fighting for a better Nigeria, a Nigeria of equals, an egalitarian Nigeria, and a democratic Nigeria. So, President, I'm one of those who, in this chamber and across this nation, where he mentored so many, I'm one of those privileged to be here to make these remarks by way of a tribute. When I got involved from the pro-democracy struggles and gravitated towards partisan politics in 1998, it was under the mentorship of Pa Adebanjo, the late Pa Adesonya, leading the then People's Consultative Forum, which became a Plenary. And I want to condole with my senator on my maternal side, Otumba Benga Daniel Su, who sponsored this motion. And if you look at the other paper, I'm the only senator listed there. My name is the last. It shouldn't have been last. I should have actually been one of the chief sponsors. OGD being my senator too. But my name is here is not a mistake. It's a way to reconnect with my maternal base and also to join all of them to mourn the passing of a man who did so much to represent the finest in the Omoluabi tradition, the finest. May his soul continue to rest in peace, and we thank him for the opportunity of mentorship. And I think some of us are really privileged. We studied under those masters. Senate leader is here seated. He and I, at those times, were much younger, but were learning and working in the Alliance for Democracy. And OGD and a number of others who are also here and across the country. So, Mr. Senate President and my dear colleagues, we have really lost a titan of the progressive democratic struggles of Nigeria. And he has left clearly a very huge vacuum. And we only pray that God Almighty will endow all of us and our generation of Nigerians to aspire to do some of the things they were able to do. They lived for a long time, and yet in that long life did so much. Their lives showed that they didn't do things for personal gain. They took positions in the national interest. You may recall that in the last immediate past election, 2023 elections, Mr. President, in the midst of all kinds of sentiments injected into the politics and the campaigns, he took these our iconic fathers, Pa Adebanjo, taking a position in the national interest. Pa Clark, taking a position in the national interest. It's our prayer that God will enable this nation to have more Pa Adebanjos. Yesterday we took a tribute on Pa Clark. Today is Adebanjo. They still have one of their colleagues. He is alive, of that generation. Tanko Yakasai. Great Nigerian leaders, but he's alive. We mourn the passing of Pa Adebanjo, And some of us, even if we are not part of the official formal Senate delegation, will in our own capacity be there to join the family, to join my brothers from Ogun State, brothers from Ijebuland, and across Nigeria to bid them farewell. Papa, rest in peace. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, I want to thank all who have made contributions, and particularly thank OGD for bringing this issue to the fore. So we can go into the prayers. Prayer 1, observe a minute silence in honor of Adebanjo. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, send a high-powered delegation to condole the family, the good people of Ijebuland and Ogun State in general. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal government of Nigeria to immortalize him by naming a national monument after him. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank distinguished Senator, His Excellency Otumba Benga Daniel, for bringing this to the fore, and to say that in the Senate, we also mourn with you and the good people of Ijebuland. This was, again, a major colossus, and one of those that Nigeria's history cannot be complete unless his name is mentioned. He contributed his quota in speaking out, doing everything possible to ensure a better Nigeria, and it has pleased God to call him to paradise, and for us, we cannot question the will of God. But we thank God for his life. I only want to urge you to regard this as a celebration of life and not as a mere death, because to stay alive to reach the age of 96 is no mean feat, considering the vagaries of life, the travails that we all have to pass through as human beings. So I want to join you and join all of us to say that may the soul of Samuel Ayodele Adebanjo rest in perfect peace, and may God grant the fortitude to the family to bear this irreparable loss. So on behalf of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, may we honor this man with a minute silence. May the soul of Chief Samuel Ayodele Adebanjo, born 1929, departing in the year 2025, OFR, rest in perfect peace. Point of order. Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr. President. Yes, point of order. Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamilekan, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic. Mr. President, I come under Order 42, and with the kind permission, Mr. President, may I go ahead to read the order. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there might be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in details to the President of the Senate when it's leave to make it its source. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I come under this order as a result of the death of a former distinguished senator of this distinguished Senate, and no other person than Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola. He's a former senator of this Hollow Chamber who once represented the Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. With the kind permission of Mr. Chair, the Senate President, I would like to say one or few words about the demise of this distinguished senator.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate received with great shock and sadness the news of the demise of our colleague, Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola, the representative of Ogun West Senatorial District of the Third Republic Senate, who passed away on Monday, 17th February 2025 at his Bagada residence in Lagos at the ripe age of 91 years. Aware that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola was born in Lagos on December 14, 1924. He started his education in Yaba Methodist School, Yaba, and proceeded for his secondary school education in Ofa Grammar School between 1951 to 1956. For his tertiary education, he went to Alibon Law School between 1962 to 1965, and later studied estate surveying at the West London College between 1965 to 1968. Note that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola started his public service career as a survey assistant in the Ministry of Land and Housing in Ibadan, in the Western region between 1957 to 1961. He also worked overseas as a cadet valuer for property tax at the Board of Internal Revenue, London, as well as senior estate surveyor at the British Railway Property Board between 1969 to 1970. Among other foreign work experience, in his private practice, he was a senior estate surveyor at the Knight Frank and Rotley Nigeria Limited between 1973 and 1976, and later became a partner in the company in 1977. He was the chairman of the Gateway Industrial and Technical Company Limited, OTA, from 1980 to 1983, as well as managing partner, Osage Okeke Otegbola and Company. He eventually established his popularly renowned firm, Ayo Otegbola & Co., a firm of estate surveyor and valuer. Further note that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola was elected as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1992 in the Third Republic and dedicated his life for effective representation to his people in the Red Chamber, as well as contributed to lawmaking and good governance in his time as a federal legislator. He was the Ogun State chairman of the People's Democratic Party at the inception of the Fourth Republic between 1999 to 2000, as well as the chairman of the Federal Housing Authority. Aware that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyor and Valuers, as well as member, Federation of International Real Estate Corporation, among other international professional bodies affiliation. He is a member of the Ikoyi Club Lagos, a premier club of Nigeria, Lagos, a 5-star general,
a Rotary International, as well as a Paul Harris Fellows, the Rotary Club of Lagos. Recall that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola, for his contribution to the social economy and cultural development of the society, was made the Babalaje of Ota Ogun State, the Babagwa of Ijanikin, the Lagos State, the Baba Ijo of St. Michael African Bethel Cathedral, Igbo Olori Ota Ogun State, as well as the Asiwaju of Awuri land. Observe that Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola was a perfect gentleman, a devoted Christian, and a grassroots politician by excellence, a long-serving public officer with an unblemished record of public service, a large-hearted philanthropist, and a committed nationalist. The demise of Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola is a great loss to his family, the people of Ogun West Central District, Ogun State, and indeed Nigeria as a whole. Accordingly, the Senate to resolve, send a condolence letter and an high-powered delegation to commensurate with the family of the deceased and the government of Ogun State. 2. Observe a minute silence in honor of Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gbenga Daniel.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm Otumba Engineer Gbenga Daniel, Ogun East Senatorial District. And I also want to lend my voice to this motion by...
You came under 42? So you cannot... You can contribute. You came under 42. So there's no avenue for you to...
Do you need a seconder?
No. It stops there. Yes, so... no, let's finish with this first. Well, first of all, we will have gotten we missed the opportunity to contribute to say our eulogy in respect of our former colleague, because the deceased senator was one of us here, where he served our nation in the best manner possible. We will have had the opportunity to bear our minds, to say our condolences, to extend our condolences to his family and the people of Ogun West, and indeed the entire people of Ogun State and the country at large. But our colleague, the Chairman Committee on Appropriations, came under Order 42, past explanation, which does not give the Senate the opportunity, give senators the opportunity to bear their minds, to say, to extend their condolences personally, individually, to his family, and indeed the Senate and the people of West and the country at large. Since that is the situation, we go straight to the only prayer in his submission, because of the motion, which is to send a condolence letter to commiserate with the family of the deceased and the government of Ogun State. Those who are in favor of these prayer, please say aye. Those are against, say nay. The ayes have it. And then, of course, the second prayer is to observe a minute silence in honor of Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola. Those in favor of that, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. So can we now get up to say, to observe a minute silence in his honor? May the soul of Senator Solomon Ayodeji Otegbola rest in perfect peace. Point of order, Senator Issa Jibrin. What order?
Order 42.
Order
Personal
42.
explanation.
Personal explanation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues, I wish to come under 42, and with your permission, I want to proceed to read. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the President of the Senate when his leave to be made is sought. Your Excellency, I want to, before I proceed with this explanation, I want to refer to Order 6. Order 6 says, the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. Okay? A senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time. Your Excellency, an incident happened this morning that involved one of the senators from Kogi East, Senator Natasha Akoti Uduaga. I want to talk on this because I am also from Kogi East, and I feel concerned. The movement of the senators, the recent movement of the senators is attributable mainly to the defection of Senator Ned Nwoko and Ezewa. And as a result of that, there was a need to reallocate the seats accordingly. So the Senate President did what is expected of him, but the reaction from my colleague senator from Kogi State this morning is uncalled for. I want to sincerely apologize on behalf of the Kogi caucus to the Senate President and the entire Senate that this will not repeat itself again under any other scenario. It will not repeat itself again. We're going to cancel her. We're going to talk to her. This is the Senate. We are here guided by the laws. The others here are there to guide all of us. And everybody is subjected or should be subjected to the others hearing. On behalf of the Kogi caucus, once again, Mr. President, I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to the entire members of the Senate here present today that you should please allow this case to die here. We don't want you to escalate it to the invocation of any order that will be applicable under this scenario. I so submit. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
What order did you come under? Okay. Well, your submission is noted. Yes. Senator Karimi, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is it point of order?
Point of order, sir. I'm coming under Order 14, privilege. During a period when, okay, maybe 10, let me see 10. Okay, Order 10, privilege. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and it shall be prepared to move without a notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been committed or referring the matter to the Committee of Ethics and Privilege. But if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Oath, the Senate, the chairman shall leave the chair to report progress. Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this morning, before our sitting, there was an uproar in the chamber over the change of seat. Just as Senator Issa Jubri pointed out, the Senate President has the power to change seat at any time without even notice. Even as the chairman of the Senate Services, you don't need to even tell me before you change seat if you want to. And in fact, when I came in, one or two senators complained, and I explained to them, it was not.
Use your mic so that we can hear you.
When I came in this morning, the first person that came to me about change of seat was Senator Samson Ekong, that he wanted a seat, and that seat has been reallocated to somebody else. I said, be patient. I don't even know about this arrangement you are talking of. But before you know, sir, Senator Natasha shouted my name all over the place. I'm sure my name is in the media for negative reason today. My upbringing, I will not shout at any woman. So I didn't reply her. I kept quiet. But I want to say my privilege has been breached. And that shouldn't be in an assembly of this nature. We don't need to blackmail ourselves. And when she came into this place, we took her in like myself and Senator Jubri, we extended the hands of fellowship on her. In fact, we lobbied you too much to ensure that the chairmanship that was vacated by Senator Ohere was given to her. We know what we did to achieve that. So when she shouted my name and said all those negative things this morning, I just thank God that I calmed down and I kept silent. What you have done, you have the power to do it, and you have no. You did it at the best interest of the Senate. I don't know why this place will be turned to turn upside down because of that. So I will want her to at least come out and apologize to us because of our behavior this morning. Thank you, sir.
The distinguished Senator Karimi, I can see that you feel very hot by whatever transpired this morning. You came under Order 10 of our rules. This is the Nigerian Senate, one of the most prestigious clubs in the world, the Senate. And a lot of accomplished people are here. A lot of matured people are here. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and it shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed, and the matter may be referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and the Committee of the Whole, or Committee of the Whole for necessary action. The chairman at that stage will leave his chair to sit and report progress. I just want to appeal to you that even though you came under this order, let us not go further to go into Committee of the Whole to just discuss this issue. Let's focus on why we're elected here. The matter will be dealt with at the appropriate time. I thank you so much. And I want to appeal to you to temper justice with mercy and forgive. Bear the insult. It's part of why you came. But just to reiterate, I do not want my brothers on the left side of the aisle to be discouraged by what has happened. Please, you are welcome on the right side of the aisle. As you move from the left side to the right side, we will continue to create spaces for you. So please don't be discouraged. A movement in the chambers is part of legislative functions. Because by the time elections and primaries and congresses are coming next year, some of you may feel cheated by your constituencies. Some of you may feel that you'll be better, your fortunes will be better in this right-hand side, just like I feel my fortune will be better in this right-hand side. And so when you move, you will create vacancies in your seat, and another person must fill that seat. That was why, in the wisdom of the framers of the standing orders of the Senate, Section 6 was inserted, that the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. That is Section 6.1. And Section 6.2 says, a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him or her, provided that the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time. I want the public to realize that what we are doing here is not out. We are a body ruled by rules and then the Constitution. So we don't do things for doing sake. When Senator Nedmoko, Senator Ezenwa, and many other senators, may still rest in peace, Senator Ifeanyi moved from the left to this side, they created vacancies. And so, even when unfortunately the demise of Senator Ifeanyi occurred on the right-hand side, we also created vacancies. It's not something that we make noise. It's something we've been doing without noise. Another person had to take the seat. This will continue from time to time. So what has happened today is a total aberration. But anybody who wishes to go and make law must be prepared to obey the law. The chief whip, if you want to be a lawmaker, be prepared to obey the law. So my ruling on this issue is, please, distinguished senators, do not feel offended. Let us continue to focus on the business that brought us here, which is the Nigerian people, which is the support of the government of the Federation of Nigeria to provide dividends of democracy and move this country forward. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of His Excellency, distinguished Senator Akpabio Godswill Obot, on the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 724. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 724, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 724, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Izunaso Sita Bonaventure on the Federal Colleges of Education Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 678. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Colleges of Education Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 678, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Colleges of Education Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 678, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Ede Dafinone Omoya on the Nigerian Digital Sovereignty and Fair Data Compensation Bill 2025, SB 722. Mr. President, may we to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Digital Sovereignty and Fair Data Compensation Bill 2025, SB 722, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Digital Sovereignty and Fair Data Compensation Bill 2025, SB 722, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Oyewuchi Ezenwa Francis on the Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 723. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 723, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 723, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Akpoti Uduaghan Natasha on the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 726. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian in Diaspora Commission NIDCOM Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 726, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission NIDCOM Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 726, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 675. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, the 11th day of February 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Simon Bako Lalong, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Simon Lalong.
Mr. President, Mr. President, I've just been informed that distinguished Senator Lalong, Chairman of the committee, is on an official assignment to Jerusalem. But the Deputy Chairman of the committee is available and is ready and willing to take the report. So, Your Excellency, you may therefore invite distinguished Senator Zak to present the report.
Distinguished Senator Zak.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Dr. Titus Zam. I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment B 2025. Mr. President, I seek leave of you to allow me to lay the report.
Please do. You may proceed to summarize the report.
Okay. A B for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act, Cap F22, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make provision for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiakpa, Orukanam, Akwa Ibom State, and the Federal University of Agriculture, Okeho, Oyo State, and for related matters, SB 675. The Senate, at its plenary sitting on Tuesday, 11 February 2025, deliberated on the general principles of the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act, Amendment B 2025, SB 675. After exhaustive deliberations, the bill was read for the second time and referred to the Senate Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions for further legislative action. Consequent upon the referral, the committee met and recommended as follows. The committee, having considered the proposed bill and taking into account its relevance to the socio-economic development of this country, hereby recommends that the Senate do consider and pass the Federal Universities Act Amendment B 2025 SB 675. I so present, Mr. Senate President. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Plan.
President of the Senate, my colleagues, I am Senator Dicket Plan, Senator representing the people of Plateau Central. Mr. President of the Senate and my colleagues, I am up to support from the depth of my heart the creation of another university, a technical university in the area of agriculture. My colleagues, if you see the trend of this administration, and if you see the thinking of Nigerians at times like this, and if you look at the larger population of Nigerians, particularly youth that are not employed, and if you look at our immediate budget, and you see the amount of money allocated or appropriated to agriculture, you will now believe also that we would not be applying those amount of money to agriculture or the Ministry of Agriculture if Nigerians are not trained. So the establishment of agricultural schools, agricultural university,
It will go a long way to help us maximize the purpose for which monies are allocated to the Ministry of Agriculture. And if you look at it too, this will be another avenue to bring to bear the involvement of our youths in agricultural practice. We are all aware that most Nigerians, by way of life, are into agriculture. And therefore, I stand with a very strong voice to support this bill and call upon my colleagues to support this bill and allow this bill to undergo the next reading. Thank you.
I believe the bill has been seconded. May I invite the Senate leader to move a motion for us to go to committee of the whole.
Mr. President, I stand to move a motion that we resolve into committee of whole to consider the report. I so move.
Minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve to committee of the whole to consider the report.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report clause by clause. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Report of the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act, Cap F 22 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to make provision for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiokwa Oruwanam in Akwa Ibom State, and the Federal University of Agriculture, Okehu, in Oyo State, and for later matters 2025. SB 675. Amendment of the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act. Federal Universities of Agriculture Act. Clause 1. Those in support that Clause 1 be retained, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it, yes.
Mr. President, I think there is a problem here. The two bills, two requests, or two bills are merged into one here. So when it is sent to Mr. President, if he doesn't give his assent to, if he doesn't, probably he wants the one in Akwa Ibom to be so created, right? And he doesn't want the second one. It means the bill dies. So I advise that it should be separate. It should be separate. It's not good for you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. It's not good for you, Mr. Chairman. It should be separated. Merging them will mean that if the president doesn't want the other one, he wants your own, they die. So they should go separate so that he can make assessment on each of them. So it's not in your interest.
Approach the chair.
Mr. Chairman, I please withdraw my observation. I cannot understand the reason because it will, it kind of create more harmony in terms of the way the bills are being dealt with. So I think it's in order. And the Secretariat can clean it up and do the needful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, what you are saying is that the provisions in the Act on the establishment of universities are standard. They are standard. So the only thing is you add a name from time to time. And so if the two names are coming in, the Secretariat can separate the two when presenting to Mr. President. But the standard clauses in the establishment of the new university remains. So you have withdrawn your observation,
It's withdrawn.
and then even though your withdrawal is noted. Thank you. So we may proceed. So clause 2, section 2 of the Principal Act amended to insert the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiokwa, Orubana, Akwa Ibom State, and the Federal University of Agriculture, Okeho, in Oyo State. Those in support of this amendment being retained in the Principal Act say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Then clause 3, the citation. Those in support that the bill be and the citation remains in the Principal Act say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the explanatory memorandum be retained say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate leader, you may wish to move that we revert to plenary for the chair to report progress.
I'm well guided, Mr. President, sitting as chair. I so move.
Just before I put the question, the title will now be Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025. Long title on page 1 retained. Number of clauses 3. Interpretation clause nil. Short title 3, which on page 1. Schedules nil. Explanatory memorandum. And those in support that the chair reports progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We revert to plenary. Minority leader. We can't deny you your constitutional rights. Yes.
I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert back to plenary to report progress.
Please. The minority leader has exercised his privilege, seconding the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses, clauses 1 to 2 as recommended. Short title, clause 3 as recommended. The explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill be now read third time. I so move.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act, CAP, F 22, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make provisions for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiakpa, Orunkam, Akwa Ibom State, and the Federal University of Agriculture, Okohe, Oyo State, and for related matters, 2025, SB 675, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Cap F 2022, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiakpa, Orukonam local government in Akwa Ibom State, and also the Federal University of Agriculture, Okeho, in Oyo State, and for related matters 2025. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act, Cap F 2022, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Obiakpa, Orukonam in Akwa Ibom State, and the Federal University of Agriculture, Okeho, in Oyo State, and for related matters 2025, third reading taken and passed. Let me thank my colleagues for their contributions and congratulate the Senate for looking inwards. No country can achieve greatness if that country cannot feed itself. And the preparation to being able to feed ourselves is ensuring that we expand the cost of agricultural education to make food available to the sundry, to all and sundry. And we must realize that Nigeria is growing exponentially. And then the available food items are very scarce in the market, hence inflation and the cost of rising food prices. But as we establish these institutions to teach our people with sample farms and all that, how to engage in agricultural practices, and as Nigeria diversifies its economy and focuses more on agriculture, remaining the greatest employer of labor, expanding the coast and ensuring that the country we produce what we consume and consume what we produce, I see greatness in the horizon for this country. And so I congratulate the National Assembly, I congratulate the Nigerian Senate for these epoch-making decisions. And I encourage that these universities should be assented to as quickly as possible for it to take off for the benefit of all Nigerians. I thank you all. And I wish the various institutions luck, because university is universal. No matter where it is located, any person can go there from any part of the world. So congratulations to the Senate on these two institutions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Science and Technology Cabo Establishment Bill 2025 SB 691. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 5th February 2025. Mr. President, may we to invite most distinguished Senator Mohammed Danduse Muntari, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Most distinguished Senator Danduse, you may proceed to move.
Thank you, Mr. President, my respected colleagues. I remain Danduse Muntari Mohammed, representing Katsina South. Mr. President, the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Science and Technology Cabo Establishment Bill 2025 SB 691. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Issa Jibril.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I am Issa Jibril, representing Kogi East. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Science and Technology Cabo Establishment Bill 2025 SB 691. I so second.
Colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do receive the report on the establishment of this University of Science and Technology in Cabo. Those in support that the Senate do receive the report say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Senator Dandu said you may proceed to lay your report.
Mr. President, the bill seeks to upgrade the Federal Polytechnic Cabo to a Federal University of Science and Technology in view of the cosmopolitan nature of Kano. The new University of Science and Technology will encourage the advancement of learning and hold out to all persons without discrimination of race, creed, sex, or political conviction the opportunity of acquiring a higher and liberal education. It will also among the legislative summary, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, at this juncture, I wish to inform you that the inference drawn by the committee at the end of the exercise is informed by the fact that this assignment has received overwhelming support of stakeholders. recommendation, Mr. President. The Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Form, to which this bill was referred, have carefully considered same, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do consider and pass the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Science and Technology, Kano State, and for other matters connected therewith, establishment Bill 2025 SB 691 as recommended. In conclusion, I wish to use this opportunity to thank the President of the Senate and distinguished colleagues for the opportunity to serve in this capacity and to humbly request the Senate to pass this bill. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Father Hunsi.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I hereby support the move that the University of Science and Technology, Cabo, cannot be established. Why I support is because of the advantages of spreading science and technology throughout the country. Has it supported? Has it supported? I'm supporting it. And if you could recollect, Mr. President, most of the universities of sciences and technologies are many down south. But the way they are moving to the north is encouraging, so that at least there will be balancing in our educational system. The product of the universities are those teachers again impacting technology on polytechnics. Therefore, with this move now, Nigeria is on the move to greatness in education. To me, it's a great movement by this administration, and I so support the movement. Thank you, Mr. President.
Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate dissolve the committee of the whole for further consideration of this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to support the motion that the Senate do resolve the committee of the whole for clause-by-clause consideration of the report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly resolves into committee of the whole for clause-by-clause consideration. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And I must take cognizance of what distinguished Senator Father Hunsi said in appreciating the establishment of this University of Science and Technology in Cabo. Because, like he said, it's good for it to be to spread all over the country, to give opportunities to our children to receive better education in science and technology. And I know at the end, it will lead to holistic development of the country in that area, which ICT remains the employer of today, food provider of today, and even in the nearest future. Those in support? we've already taken that decision. So we move into committee of the whole.
Distinguished colleagues, report of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TELFON on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Universities of Science and Technology, Cabo, Kano State, and for other related matters connected therewith. Establishment Bill 2025. Long title. Those who support long title on page 1 be retained, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Number of clauses 35. Those in support of the number of clauses say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Interpretation clause 34, page 25. Those in support it remains part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Short title clause 35, page 26. Those in support it will be retained as part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedules schedules 1 to 3 on pages 26 and 35. Those in support retain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum on page 46. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the establishment of the Federal University of Science and Technology, Cabo, clause 1, 2, (1 to 5). Those in support clauses 1 to 5 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to clause 20. Those in support of 6 to 20 remaining part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 21 and 22. Those in support clauses 21 and 22 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clauses 23 to 27 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 28 to 30 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clauses 31 to 34 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clause 35 remain part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that interpretation clause remains part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that explanatory memorandum remains part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. I rise to second the motion that the Senate revert back to plenary to enable the chair to report progress. I so second.
The motion has been moved and seconded that this chair reverts to the plenary, the August Assembly reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion to revert to plenary say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TERFON on the Federal University of Science and Technology Cabo Establishment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 35 as recommended. Interpretation clause 34 as recommended. Short titles on clause 35 as recommended. Schedules 1 to 3 as recommended. The Committee of the Whole. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the bill be now read for the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the bill be now read the third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this bill be now read a third time. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Science and Technology, Cabo, Kano State, to make provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters, 2025, SB 691, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Science and Technology, Cabo, in Kano State, and to make provisions for its due management and administration, and for related matters 2025. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Science and Technology, Cabo, Kano State, and to make provisions for its due management and administration, and for related matters 2025. Third reading taken and passed. Let me thank the chairman of the Committee on Telephone and members and my distinguished colleagues for their contributions, and also congratulate the good people of Cabo and Kano State and Nigerians as a whole on the establishment of this University of Science and Technology. I pray that this university, which is universal, provides knowledge in science and technology, particularly the artificial intelligence, and guides Nigeria to belong to the Community of Nations in providing more employment, more prosperity, and bringing a better world. I thank you all. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move first that we do stand down the remaining two items we have on the other paper for another legislative day, and should the Senate agree to that, I then should be deemed to have moved for adjournment of our sitting till Tuesday, the
Minority Leader.
Okay, till Tuesday, the 25th day of February 2025 at 11 a.m. I so move.
And very distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate suspend the remaining items on the other paper and also adjourn to Tuesday the 25th of February 2025. I so second. Step down of the other items on the other paper and also adjourn to 25th February 2025. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motions have been moved and seconded. Those in support of the two motions, one that we suspend the last item on the other paper, and secondly, we adjourn, we step down the item on the other paper to another legislative Tuesday, the 25th day of February 2025. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate is hereby adjourned to the 25th day of February 2025 at 11 a.m. prompt.